This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're going to get. This is your host, T. And this week, in honor of it being 1 month to FC3 2018, we are going back to revisit some of our classic episodes. And the episode that we're revisiting today for me is What is Rewatchable or Not, when Chris put me in the hot seat as the host for the very first time. So I think I've learned a little bit since then. I'm a little more comfortable. So let's take it away and see what's happened in the last year. Welcome back to another episode of Monkey Business. I am Tanya in the studio today.
Oh, I thought you were Chris.
No,
wow, Chris, what
no,
happened?
Chris definitely changed his voice.
Yeah.
Chris currently isn't here, so I have taken over at least for the next 5-10 minutes until he shows up.
Tanya's taken over the studio.
Woohoo! To my right, I have Billy.
Hi.
And then to my left, I have Rob.
Hi, Rob.
You usually say hi.
Yeah, waving doesn't work on microphone.
Might work on TV. And then on my other left to Rob, we have Zach.
Hello, Internet. How are you?
And on the phone, we have Sherry.
Hello.
Oh, I was going to say, Sherry, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So today we are doing another episode of Monkey Business, and we had started a discussion a couple minutes ago about shows that we would either go back and rewatch or not rewatch, and why. Because we were starting a little discussion, and Sherry was talking about going back to watch what, X-Files or Criminal Minds? Which one?
It was X-Files.
It was X-Files.
Yeah.
So you were saying you wanted to watch them back with your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter, who's 18, I like to watch. We sit down and we'll binge watch shows together. And I was looking at X-Files. Oh, is this something that we can watch together? Is this something she'd be interested in? And I really found, as much as I love the X-Files. It was like one of those, oh my God, I have to be home at a certain time. I got to watch X-Files.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the first couple of episodes, I couldn't really get through them. And I'm like, yeah, Lana's never going to like these because they were kind of boring upon rewatch.
Is it something that you could skip the first couple episodes and start with episodes that you liked?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But it's been so long, I'll pretty much have to watch it myself in order to figure out where's a good starting point.
True, definitely true.
There was just other things that we wanted to watch that we went through, and she absolutely loved, and that I just haven't gotten back to X-Files. This was like 2 years ago, I think, that I tried.
Yeah, I haven't. When his first day with the new mouth talking,
the new voice, Chris's new voice.
Chris's new voice. That's the thing. When the X-Files rebooted, I'm just like, yeah, X-Files is back, and I'm like, I was kind of excited about it, and then they stopped, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could have some more. Come on,
it's coming back again.
I was going to say, I think they've
I think
commissioned
they're going to do 12 episodes.
Yeah, another
12.
season, maybe two
Really?
more.
Well, I can't wait.
Of the new style.
I'm like Billy. It's like once I'm in, I'm in.
You have to keep watching.
Yeah, I have to keep watching. I'm definitely trying to finish this. But yeah, that would be something I would have to go back and rewatch. I mean, I have it pulled up right now on line and just seeing just the relationship of the characters and how they develop over the years and things like that would be just interesting to watch again.
Now, when you folks watch a show that you've seen before and you really like it, or just a series that you're currently watching, but there's someone else in the room that doesn't normally watch the show, do you get uncomfortable hoping that they enjoy it as much as you do? Do you worry about that? Do you... Like I'm currently, I like Riverdale,
Yes.
and I think Tanya does too. But my wife,
I like
when my wife is in the room and I'm watching it, I keep worrying that I don't think she likes it. Maybe it's not as good as I hope, and maybe my opinions stink, and I don't think it's.
I try to go by the taste. Like I try to if I like a friend of mine or someone I know sort of what they like, and I go, okay, this person's probably going to like this. This night might not be their top cup of tea. And I go like that. But sometimes the show's just good enough, you figure,
what the hell?
You might
like
try
it.
it. You might like it, yeah.
Well, even like my wife watches Scandal. I mentioned this on the radio a little bit earlier when I was on the radio. And I'm not a fan. And it's won awards, and it's critically acclaimed. And it was the same with The Good Wife.
I haven't seen either of those shows, Scandal nor The Good Wife.
And I guess I can understand why other people like them, but I don't. But I question my own taste when
Sherry, are you
when
outside?
things like that. Yeah, are you wrestling a bear or something, or an alligator?
What?
Are you wrestling a bear or an alligator or something down there?
I have no idea what you're talking
There's some.
outside,
It sounds
You're
like
outside?
He's driving by.
Oh, she's outside.
Oh, okay.
She's enjoying this
because
nice,
if I'm
beautiful
inside,
weather.
My dog will start barking. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know if you're horseback riding or.
Riding an alligator. Or...
Yeah, something like that. So, no, I
So
mean,
excuse the ambient noise.
oh, okay. We'll try to put it to the back of our mind. No, it's like, I mean, I like Riverdale. You like Riverdale, but I know that, like, other people wouldn't necessarily like Riverdale because it's more like teenage type drama type
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Should we, being at 40, 50, whatever, be enjoying a teenage type drama and sympathize with their characters and things like that?
But it's based on classic characters that
Right.
everyone knows, and I
Right.
think that's an easy way in.
It
but they
is.
take them on like a soap opera-y.
And I think that's
level.
that's the issue that some people have. I mean, like, I enjoyed watching Power Rangers. And other people are like, like my 18-year-old's like, oh God, Mom. I'm like, hey, you watched it, type thing, and I'm like, I just like to sit back and enjoy some Cheese Factor every so often. Check your brain at the door and just enjoy it for the cheesiness.
That's how it is for my aunt. She just turned 70, but she loves the Twilight movies.
Oh,
And I asked her, I was like, why do you like the Twilight movies? She's like, I just like to sit there, turn off my brain, and not think about something for an hour and a half. Like, okay, you know what?
yeah, and that sometimes that is. It's
And
like,
I can see why people like stuff. It may not be for me, but yeah, it's all about taste. So if I'm watching a show with somebody and they don't particularly care for it, it doesn't affect how I feel.
Has there
about the
ever
show.
been a show that you were sure, a show or a movie you were sure someone was going to love, and you just turned out you were wrong and they didn't
Well,
like
like in
it?
my case,
yes, there was things that you thought I would love, and I didn't.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
No, not the show that we're talking about. That thing that you do.
Oh, that thing you do. Oh, that's right. That's a
didn't-
great movie.
see,
How do you not like that movie? That thing you do with Tom Hanks and
I mean, it was good, but it was not something
Liv
that
Tyler,
I'm
I
like,
think,
ooh, I have to go see. No,
it's
I
just
mean,
such a fun, happy movie. Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
You didn't like that movie.
It's not that I didn't like the movie. It was just I didn't think it was like the greatest movie ever. And it's
Neither
okay.
did I get into this. I never said it was the greatest movie ever. I just said
Okay,
I love the movie. I've seen it multiple times and I really like it.
Yeah, and so that's not one that I would like go back and rewatch.
I don't understand how everyone
yeah,
doesn't have that opinion.
But I would go back and rewatch Dirty Dancing 20 million times, and you won't. But we'll just,
Oh, man.
I'm in a
I'm
room
gonna
with
go put
all
me in the corner.
males,
My grandmother,
okay?
same way.
I mean, I
That's
watch
her- that's one-
Roadhouse anytime it's on.
Now, granted,
Hey.
I now in our house, if we're flipping through the stations, if Armageddon or The Fifth Element or something
Yes.
else, you have to stop.
I don't care where in Armageddon it is. I
You
will
have to
stop
stop.
and watch it. I own the DVD.
Woo. Sorry,
Yep. In regards to Archie, though, in
Come
Riverdale
on,
again, too.
the black guy on the top of the
Oh, what's that guy's name?
Michael.
Oh, Michael Clark Duncan.
Yes, he was on top of the
World?
No, on top of one of the
Looking down
hospital
on
beds.
creation?
And they
Oh,
were,
the island, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the island.
No, that was on an Armageddon.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, he was standing on top of something doing this.
Dance in his
Oh, it was during the training, yeah.
in this leopard print underwear type
Underoos.
things. That was like one of the scenes that sticks out. Billy's like, what?
The one with Steve
Have you
Buscemi.
not seen Armageddon?
I've seen Armageddon and I don't remember this.
Steve Buscemi
Buscemi's
riding
yeah,
the bomb.
getting all
Ri-
goofy.
riding
Pickens.
the missile.
All I think I remember about Armageddon, and spoiler alert, is that Bruce Willis dies.
Oh, well, if anyone has not seen it by now,
I know,
I'm
I
sorry.
I don't feel bad for that, for
No.
ruining that movie.
And
for
that
everybody.
Aerosmith sings while it happens.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss a thing.
Don't want to close my eyes.
No, he sad
I'm
to
sorry,
say, but Bruce
Billy
Willis
singing.
closed his eyes forever on that one.
So yes, those are some of the ones that you have to stop and rewatch.
Yes.
But TV shows, I don't know. I'm watching, people know, at least in here, that I'm watching NCIS for the first time.
I love
Okay.
And so
NCIS.
I've been binge watching since.
Miss an episode of NCIS? Turn on USA. It's on.
Fortunately, I have Netflix, and I'm halfway through season 6. So
How many are there? Like 23 seasons of NCIS?
14 seasons.
still running,
There's
I think.
330 episodes. According to Chris, I'm like on episode 100 and something of 5,345.
And you're on the Fifth Doctor. Oh, no,
no.
that's the other show.
And then you're going to The Simpsons, right? And going to start from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love The Simpsons, and I just haven't
No,
watched
it went
It's
after
just like
season
South
8.
Park.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, the funny thing, The Simpsons, every time I used to watch it religiously, and at some point, I'm not sure when, I stopped.
You grew up?
But no, I haven't. But every time I turn it on, it makes me laugh. But I don't consciously go, oh, it's Sunday night at 8 o'clock. I got to watch The Simpsons.
The only part I really enjoyed is figuring out what Bart was writing on the chalkboard every week to find out.
Oh, there's way more than that.
I know, but it was just like, what is he writing on the chalkboard this time? Type thing.
No, in a case of serendipity, we were in college when it started, and there was somebody named Bart Simpson in college. So we would have Bart Simpson parties in his dorm and watch the show.
And ironically, he ate your shorts.
No, he drank our stuff.
Was his name Chris by any chance? No. Sorry. He's not here for us to really pick on.
And
so.
back to the original topic. So,
this is side questings and digressions.
Exactly, of stuff you'd rewatch or not rewatch.
Let's see. What would I rewatch?
See, right now...
I would definitely go back and rewatch X-Files, and I was talking about rewatching Criminal Minds. Just...
And I just went through No, I just went and I watched the whole run of Tales from the Crypt over the last couple weeks.
I've only seen a couple episodes of that.
They hold up. I
don't know.
I've got a few. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a slightly newer show, but it's not that new, but it's a slightly newer show. But I have this thing that my family picks on me about is that I am continuously in a leverage loop.
I love leverage.
Leverage. I restarted.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I
think I've watched the season twice. Can I tell you? I would love
I think
to
I'm on like the fourth rewatch currently.
I would love to have Christian Kane come in for FC3.
Oh,
he's on my top 10 list.
He was an angel too, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what leverage is.
Yeah, Wolfram and Hart.
I really don't.
Basically, a whole group of criminals. So it goes back to that criminal aspect. One's a grifter, one's a hacker, one's was an insurance agent, a thief.
Yeah,
and they
one's a thief and one's a retrieval specialist.
Yep. So
grifter, hacker, thief, mastermind. That's what the
yeah, and then Christian Kane's just the muscle.
Yeah,
he's the assassin type thing. So or whatever. But what happens is every episode, there's the premise that something's been wronged to someone that's a good person, and so the leverage crew goes into whether the corporate or the whatever scheme and schemes them out of it to pay back.
So kind of like a Robin Hood type
yes,
thing?
that's exactly what it is.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, my God. It was a great show. It's on Netflix. Timothy Hutton, right?
Timothy Hutton,
Aldous Hodge,
Christian Kane. It's a great cast.
The woman that plays Sophie Devereaux. I can't remember her name, but...
Yeah, I can never remember her name.
And then the blonde. Let me look it up.
She shows up on Criminal Minds. She was on Criminal Minds, too.
Hey, in future episodes, we're going to be doing a thing where we do like a book club discussion of something. Is there a self-contained... Are those shows like self-contained enough to where we could watch an episode and discuss an episode of...
the first
without
one
knowing it?
really gives you a really good taste of what the show's going to be.
Yeah, if you just watch the pilot.
Okay, because I know sometimes you want to go to your favorite episode. Like there's definitely episodes of shows further in that sort of encapsulate everything you love about a show or a movie. And I was wondering if there's any of those that
Mark Shepard's in
the
this.
Rashomon Job.
The Rashomon Job.
There's an episode called The Rashomon Job. It's the episode, Tanya, where they're all telling back before they were a team, and they were all telling about a theft that they all, from all their different points of view, that they all happen to be at.
Okay, let me.
And it's a great episode.
Oh, right there.
My personal favorite episode.
It is. I just had it. So, Season 3, Episode 11.
Yeah.
Well, let me just actually make a note. Maybe
It's
sometime
Timothy
in the future.
Hutton, Gina Bellman, that's Sophie.
Gina Bellman. Yeah.
Christian Kane, Aldous Hodge, and Beth Riesgraf is.
So I'm going to write down Leverage for a future.
Leverage is.
And then post that because I'll watch
Tanya.
it.
Yeah.
Beth Riesgraf played Spencer's girlfriend on Criminal Minds.
Yeah, and okay.
Yeah.
So this show ran for what,
crossed my heart.
like 4 or 5 seasons? It looks like 77 episodes.
Yep.
And it holds up. Or have you rewatched it, or have only seen it the one time through?
I watch it over and over again.
I've seen it at least 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Definitely, that's
It's
one.
not that old, so it definitely holds up.
2008 to 2012.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
See, now one thing, when you go back to
she
older
was
shows,
Beth Riesgraf was in
Everything.
NCIS also. I have to figure out 2011. I'm not there yet. Damn.
Uh-oh.
I'm only at 2006. So
see, sometimes when you go back to older shows,
you're like, hey.
some people
Misha
have.
Collins showed up on an episode of NCIS
Oh, okay.
before he hit Supernatural. So I'm just like, and on Leverage, Mark Shepard, the person that plays Crowley, was
he's in everything.
He's in everything, but he's in this one, and you love him in here too.
All right.
I just got into a fight with somebody online over him, over Mark Shepard.
There's a lot of people that like to get into a fight about Mark Shepard. But
Well, somebody had posted something about his 2 episodes on Doctor Who, and someone's like, "Oh," and everyone kept saying, "Oh, it's Crowley, it's Crowley," and somebody was like, "Oh, what kind of nerd are you if you know him more from Supernatural than you know him from Doctor Who?" And I'm like, "Oh, so his 2 episodes on Doctor Who was more important than his 70 episodes of Supernatural,
No
or his
kidding.
10 episodes of Leverage,
or whatever
the
that
other
is.
genre shows he's been on." Yeah, I was not real popular.
No, but definitely, yes, we'll post Leverage as the TV series to the Facebook page in order to watch it so we can talk about the Rashomon job.
To go back to what you said about the single episode that kind of encapsulates the show for me, excuse me, to tie it into the X-Files, one of my favorite episodes, and I think it ranks pretty consistently in like the top 5 X-Files episodes, is, I don't remember what season it's from, but it's Jose Chung's From Outer Space.
Hold on, I'll look.
It's got Charles Nelson Riley of Match Game fame.
Oh, I've always
as the sci-fi author, and Jesse the Body Ventura and Alex Trebek play the Men in Black.
That sounds awesome.
It is
that sounds like pure awesomeness.
It was probably the greatest episode of that show, and I think Gillian Anderson has stated on numerous interviews that it's her favorite episode of the show that she ever did.
Now, I've never watched X-Files. Could I go into that episode and sort of know stuff? Could I enjoy it without having watched
so.
X-Files?
I think so.
And that would be season 3, episode 20.
Yeah.
Is Jose Chung's From Outer Space.
Yeah, and then he also did a crossover to Millennium. Again,
I love Millennium.
As Jose Chung. And just the fact that it's Charles Nelson Riley, the overly flamboyant panelist from Match Game back in the 70s.
I like the Clyde Bruckman episode, too, and what I like is they took the name from the producer of the Three Stooges shorts.
Oh, yeah.
What, Jules White?
No, there's a Clyde Bruckman. If you watch,
is there?
if you watch a Three Stooges short, one of the producers, Clyde Bruckman, and I remember when the episode came on, I go, wait a second, isn't that on the Three Stooges? Ah, it is, and it had Peter Boyle in it, which is always good.
Peter Boyle's always a good time. May he rest in peace. And I killed the podcast.
No. So
a quick thing, when we were talking about like wanting somebody else to watch something that you love and then realizing that they don't love it the same way that you do and being disappointed, I showed my daughter Heather.
Oh, that's an excellent movie.
My all-time favorite movie.
And she was bored out of her mind.
Oh, man, that movie is
You
fantastic.
haven't seen Heather?
I don't know. There's a lot of things I've seen or haven't seen.
I've seen the stage play. I've seen the movie.
I watched it again for the first time in a long time, like 6-8 months ago.
So it sounds like we're just a room full of high school girls in here.
Yes.
I may have seen it. I may not have seen it. It's just like me picking up book. I'm like, Did I read this one or not? I can't remember.
Winona Ryder, Christian Slater,
Shannon Doherty.
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah. Oh my God, that movie is just it's wonderful. I love that.
Dear
movie.
Diary, my high school angst has brought a body count.
I don't know.
Actually, Tanya may not like it. Little quirky, little dark.
And have you seen the?
That's right. I'm stereotyping you now, Tanya.
You're not the only one.
Have you seen the musical? They still have the elements in. They take some elements out because of the way times are now. Okay. With some things, they removed them, but it's hysterical.
I'm going to
I
have
don't
to
know.
go
Maybe
back.
I just don't want to relive my high school days.
That may be something to go back and rewatch for a future podcast.
Oh, I would watch that one again in a heartbeat.
I do know, too.
Okay, homework for everyone, including me.
I'm ready. So far, we have Leverage, X-Files, Heathers.
Yeah, the Rashomon.
The Rashomon job.
Job.
I would just go back and rewatch the whole thing of Leverage. Now, there was a TV show that was a kind of a spin-off from... it was similar to like a Leverage type thing, but I want to say it was not necessarily was it a Criminal Minds spinoff? I know they had one. Wasn't there a Criminal Minds second spinoff, like Special Behavioral Unit or something?
It's funny.
Special Victims Unit.
That was a Law and Order.
That's
thing.
yeah,
SVU.
The what?
Suspect Behavior?
Yes, maybe that's what it was. Suspect Behavior.
It had Forrest Whitaker.
Yes. Oh. But then there was another one that was similar to like a Leverage type show that was on like TNT or TBS or something. I could not remember the life of me, but I liked it. And our friend Sean liked it too, but for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of that show.
I got nothing.
It's just like, what's the name of that song? That people are saying.
As soon as you stop thinking about it, it'll come.
Yeah. Chris is stuck around the Blue Cross Arena.
Oh yeah, when I drove by earlier, there was
Traffic
a lot of,
around the War Memorial.
Yeah, there was a lot of policemen out there, and I'm not sure why.
Cornhill Fest.
There is. Yeah,
Cornhill
Cornhill
Fest.
Fest is this weekend. Well, if you're listening, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
in a galaxy far, far away.
If you're listening, Cornhill Fest was.
We're time travelers. That's one thing you don't know about
They
us.
don't realize that it's the studio's bigger on the inside than the outside.
And just to tie things together.
Okay.
I'm
For
sorry.
somebody who is not in your area, what is the Cornhill Fest?
Cornhill is an area in Rochester, and they have
It's an art show. They have vendors that sell their tchotchkes that they make, and there's food and there's music, and it's a weekend of people getting drunk that live in that area.
debauchery.
It's a weekend of
Debauchery with art
and traffic jams.
That's so funny, though, because there's a Cornhill area of Utica.
Do they have a festival?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I try to avoid Cornhill like the plague.
Well, normally people do. Strangely enough, in Rochester, except for the weekend of the festival, people tend to avoid Cornhill here too.
I don't know.
I have a thing for house architecture. I really love looking at old houses and things. And Cornhill, it used to be the ritzy part of town, but now it's the rundown part of town.
Are you sure you're not in Rochester?
Yeah, that sounds awfully like our Cornhill.
Here.
Maybe it just transcends different.
And for one weekend,
cities?
A year, people buy shepherd's hooks there.
No, it's Brigadoon. It just
Brigadoon.
rotates. What's the castle? It just appears in various places.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's
Or the thing that the beast castle from Krull.
That's it from Krull.
It's an episode of Quantum Leap.
I think everything was an episode of Quantum Leap.
I love Quantum Leap.
There's another one like that I liked called Voyagers that was on, where they went through time and met historical people, and they had the actor Jan Erik Hexholm who did the accident with he did the thing with the prop gun to his head, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it turns out that blanks at close range can still hurt really bad.
No,
yeah.
What was the show that had the guy named Jared? The Pretender.
Yeah, the Pretender.
The Pretender.
I was about to say, if you're mentioning Jared, you
not
may not
Subway.
you may not want to mention wherever you're watching him.
Wasn't that To Catch a Predator?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the show he was on?
Oh wait, where's my sound effect?
Wait.
Oh wait.
Oh, you're
all those shows.
There we go.
See, Chris isn't here right now, and we're totally off of our game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Delayed rim shot.
Those are my U of R shows when I was in grad school. They would be on TV when I got home, and I would do my homework watching The Pretender, and then it was The Profiler.
Yeah, I think I would go back and rewatch Pretender. There's definitely, I need to go back and rewatch like Voyager and like Deep Space Nine.
I couldn't get into Voyager because you always knew they were never going to get home. That was the problem.
Don't tell me that. I didn't finish it.
Well, that was the problem with Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Spoiler, they don't get home? Come on.
Spoilers. That show was on when Scott Bakula had brown hair.
Actually,
I wanted to kill somebody for the ending of Quantum Leap.
Oh, that's actually my favorite episode. I cried. I literally cried like a baby at the end of that.
You know what? I don't even think I've seen all the episodes of Quantum Leap.
I think there was a lot of them.
There's 5 seasons.
Are you going to take a leap at that?
97. Oh.
I hit the wrong button.
That's even fun.
I hit the ID.
Only 97 episodes of Quantum Leap. I think I can get through that in about 2 weeks.
You know what's another good one? Have you ever seen Psych?
I was just going to say,
Psych.
I would love to go back and
show.
rewatch that show because it is hysterical.
I have not seen Psych.
Corbin Burnson is awesome.
But I think I would have to start watching Quantum Leap.
I started rewatching. Speaking of our original topic about 25 minutes ago, what have you rewatched? I started watching an episode a day of Quantum Leap while I was on the treadmill, and it holds up in an odd way. It doesn't have a strong female character, which my wife finds very annoying, because it's just Sam and Al. But and any time they go back, there's usually a woman that needs saving, or
what was this? I missed it.
Quantum Leap.
Oh, Quantum Leap.
And but I think in terms of character development over the 5 seasons, it's fantastic. And it is sort of self-contained, and you can jump in anywhere, sort of like Sam.
You could leap in anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm giving myself one. There.
I tell you.
Because each episode has different characters, and except for the technology nowadays, they didn't have cell phones and all that back then. But
I can't remember because it's been so long. Did they ever show Ziggy?
Ziggy. Yes. It was comedian Dennis Wolfberg.
Okay, because I was going to say there could be because I couldn't remember if they'd shown him or not. It could have been like the anonymous, female overlord for that. But no, God, it's been forever. I think I might need to watch Quantum Leap
was
again.
Gushy Dennis Wolfberg? No, Ziggy was the computer. No, you never saw Ziggy. It was Gushy, I was thinking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't recall ever seeing Ziggy or them even assigning a gender. It was
No,
always
they
like, well,
didn't.
Ziggy says.
Gushy was Dennis Wolfberg. So Quantum Leap is a show I really enjoy and does hold up in terms of really good writing and strong characters.
And that's what I love, shows like that still hold up after all these years. Like for me, honestly, it's to go way back at Get Smart.
Oh, I love Get Smart.
Because that show still holds up really well for 50, 60 years or 50 years or so.
Rob got lost. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, jeez. Written by Buck Henry and Mel Brooks, created.
Yep.
And Don Adams, just perfect, is the inept.
Yeah, that bumbling secret agent.
Exactly.
And Barbara Feldon, God love her.
Oh, God.
She's still around. She lives out in New York City. Very sweet woman.
Is she still beautiful?
Oh, yes. Always will be.
Yes.
But that's a show. I know one Christmas my mom got me the DVDs of it. We actually just sat and started watching episodes of it. Like, God, it still is really funny. Oh, hello there, friendo.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys.
Hi, pal o' mine.
You're right there.
I'm right here. Yeah, and you get that one.
Sherry's on the phone.
Sherry's on the phone.
We found Chris and Ian.
We're talking about shows that are rewatchable or not rewatchable, and why. So let me turn on Chris's microphone. There we go.
Hello.
There he is.
Here
His
I am.
voice has gone back to normal.
Hi, honey. I'm home.
I had to introduce everything, and Billy's like, "Wow, Chris, your voice changed." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not Chris."
Yeah, I had a few things pop up this morning, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get here on time. But that's okay, because you guys are more than capable.
Yeah, we are.
Seriously.
Oh, wait till you hear this. You'll change your mind.
I'm
about
sure.
that.
No.
We have homework for you.
Then you do?
Yes.
What's the homework for
You
me?
have to watch an episode of Leverage.
Leverage?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think I did a while back when it first came out.
There was an episode of
X-Files.
X-Files.
Oh, really? Is there a specific episode you want me to see?
Season 3, episode 20. That
Okay.
might be our
Jose
next
Chung
book club.
from Outer Space.
All right, somebody send me a text on that one.
Billy's writing it down.
Yeah.
Hi, Sherry.
I'll post it to the thing.
Hello.
How you doing, hon?
I'm good.
Good. And then my bouncing baby boy is at the far end of the table. How you doing, Ian?
Oh, hold on. Let me turn on his
he's got to turn on his mic.
I didn't even see him, to be honest with you.
He has stealth mode.
6 foot.
Well, you snuck in on
Stealth
me.
mode. And we were
Stealth mode.
talking about Quantum Leap.
We were talking. Oh, I love that show. That was a good show.
I have to actually go watch it because
That was
I
good
don't
stuff.
think I've seen it.
Now,
Same here.
are we talking about shows that we can watch and rewatch, or don't want to watch again?
Either, to be
Either.
honest
Okay.
with you. No,
Where were we at the moment? Because I saw Zach was chatting away about something when I walked in.
Well,
Actually, Get Smart
Yeah, we were
was
talking
his-
Get Smart.
Oh, wow.
I went out to retrieve you.
Absolutely,
Because
Maxwell
I still
Smart.
say 50 years or whatever removed, it still holds up for me. It's still funny.
Don Adams.
Yep.
Don Adams.
Well, I went to college, but I still did Get Smart.
Well, yeah.
There's been a lot of rim shots today about
Yeah.
leaping into things.
Oh, goody.
And Chris,
Yes, sir.
just to catch you up,
Hi.
in sort of the pre-show chat, we were talking about X-Files, and Sherry
Okay.
mentioned that she went to rewatch it with her daughter,
Yeah.
I believe, and the first couple episodes she found too boring.
Okay. Well, you know what? I personally never got into X-Files at all. I mean, I followed Gillian
I wanted
Anderson
to be Scully.
because she was hot, and but that was about. I don't think I think I maybe
Maybe
watched.
that's why I'm went to the red hair type
There you go.
thing.
Yeah, I think I watched maybe 3 or 4 episodes of X-Files and just never got hooked on it. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have that vibe for it. So Get Smart. Yep, I'm all about that because that was fun. I used to watch that I remember it was on UHF.
Yes,
Reruns
it
were on
was.
UHF.
Yes.
I would watch it after school typically, and I always got a kick out of
Yeah,
that.
Channel 9, was it?
Yeah,
was that?
Channel.
It was
Channel 31.
WWOR.
It was Channel 31
WUHF, Channel 31, and then it was Channel 7 cable. Because they only combined the cable thing. So what other shows did we cover so far?
I don't know, but can I tell you how happy I am to see you? Because I don't like hosting.
Oh, but you're good at
No,
it.
she was good at it.
I'm
serious.
Seriously.
You got,
I
you
know,
don't
but I
need
still
me.
don't like this.
You
don't
launched
need
us into
me.
a fantastic discussion.
No, I have to give all the credit there to Sherry.
No,
Starting.
you're the one that said turn on the microphone.
That's
Well,
You're the one that realized we were actually talking about something.
Yay. All
we
right,
were
well,
like 15 minutes in. We're like, oh, wait, maybe we should record this.
I will throw my 2 cents in a show that I can watch over and over again no matter what. And I'll go off sci-fi because I can talk about sci-fi and comic book stuff all the time, but I'm going to say West Wing.
Oh, I love that show.
Because West Wing
Never
was,
watched it.
oh, it was
I
just
haven't
phenomenal.
seen that one in a while.
Yeah.
I want to say it's probably too political for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's about politics. It's basically how...
Considering it's
But
set in the
it's
West.
also about relationships
yeah,
and characters.
I know.
Exactly. It's
just
about
had to-
it's
how
so
things
good.
work together. Yeah.
I just had to throw the fact that I
gotta
was a
kick-
political science major initially at
You were gonna be a
Nazareth.
lawyer, weren't you? You
I
were
was going to
going
be a
pre-law?
lawyer,
Yeah.
pre-law, and I just realized how many history classes I had
Let's
to
see how
take.
that
and
turned out.
I did the same thing. I was going to be in pre-law too, and I just decided it was too litigious. I mean, no, I really was.
I was going to go corporate law.
Well, Rob, you and I went to school with a guy who was pre-med and eventually became an ordained Catholic priest. So, I mean, anything is possible in this day and age.
So yeah, so West Wing is
You're
not one that
ordained.
I.
You're ordained.
Beaker.
Yeah, Jim
Yeah,
Harbaugh.
Yeah, but somebody
You
else.
can marry people.
Yeah. But I'm ordained too, but only through the Universalist Life Church, so I can actually perform weddings. I'm not actually what you would call a religious person.
But you're so
Blasphemy.
holy.
Well, but Doctor Who religious.
Well, that's my mythology right there.
Just back,
There you go.
I'm sorry, back to West Wing because
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Susan and I last December started rewatching. We'd seen the whole series. Susan's watched it a couple times.
Right.
But there's a podcast that when you're not listening to Monkey Business with the stars of the FC3, there's a podcast called West Wing Weekly with Joshua
really?
Molina and
very cool.
And her way. I'm sorry, it's
Is
it's
it
a
West
difficult
Wing
name.
Week?
West Wing Weekly. And every week they watch an episode of, and they go in order, like from first episode up through eventually the 7th season, last episode.
Nice. Okay.
And right now there's somewhere in the 4th season, but they chat about that episode every
cool.
week, and they, like behind the scenes stuff. They have guests like former cast members and directors and the music people, like West Wing related people, and it's a fantastic podcast.
That is cool.
So, Chris, I recommend that for you.
West Wing Weekly.
Yes.
And X-Files Season 3, Episode 20.
Only because,
Yes.
and that for me, because Charles Nelson Riley is the main guy, Jose Chung.
Uh-huh.
Men in Black are Alex Trebek and Jesse the Body Ventura.
Okay.
One of the classic episodes of the X-Files, in my opinion.
Okay.
And it's one you can just watch. You don't even need to watch the rest of them. Just
Well,
watch
that's
that
good
one.
because I probably won't.
And that's why I explained in future episodes of Monkey Business, we'll be doing sort of, as I call, the book club without those pesky words.
Right.
Where
But
we
I like
discuss
book club.
That was a phenomenal suggestion. I did watch that episode, and we'll talk about that
Yeah,
in
that's another one,
recording.
yes.
That's a whole recording into itself. But
It
but yeah,
is.
we are going to
Hint, hint.
Let me just touch that on. Well, how long has this episode been going on for?
This is
12
now,
hours.
No, this is at 34 minutes.
We're at 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
The book club.
All right.
Who watched Pride and Prejudice last week?
I did not.
I will never. There's too many versions of it.
Yeah, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Zombies.
I think that's the one I'm going to check out soon.
I think we have that.
I read it. That was fantastic.
So we are going to do start going forward with next week's podcast is basically going to be the Mighty Monkey, the Monkey Business Book Club. So this was Billy's
Episode
idea.
club.
The episode club. It's going to be we're going to pick an episode, we're going to pick a movie, or we're going to pick something in particular. And eventually, it might even be a book.
A book, sure.
And we're going to spend an episode talking about that particular piece. And I'm looking forward to that discussion. I actually I did my homework on that one this
too.
morning. For the next big discussion, so I'm looking forward to that, Billy. It was just a great idea.
And the reason I initially picked this episode because I knew it would have varying reactions.
Oh, yeah.
Both positive and negative among the people that watched it.
It was mind blowing.
So
it was mind blowing. So
I
I'm looking
wanted
forward
We'll
to
just
that.
leave it there.
I wanted something polarizing, and that was my choice.
Oh man, you spot on pick. That was a spot on pick. And so Sherry, how you doing over there in the east end of things?
Oh, pretty good.
Yay.
Pretty good.
Now,
There
is
was
there?
something that
Go
we
ahead.
kind of touched on that I wanted to bring us back around to.
Go for it.
So let me know when we're ready to.
Go ahead.
I think we're more than ready at this point, dear.
Okay, so we were talking. So the original topic was what would you rewatch and what wouldn't you, or you didn't like upon rewatch, and we haven't really touched on that.
Okay.
So I want to know what are the things that people that they absolutely loved, but then upon rewatching were just like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Because I have a story about that that Chris will probably dislike greatly because we've already had this argument.
Well,
He's
when
a
we
very
were
grumpy old man.
when we
We'll
were
stop it.
starting this conversation, I said that I would go back and rewatch episodes of X-Files, except for that one which we decided what was Mother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably the
Or
best
family?
one then.
Was it family? Something along those lines.
The
Mother, I think it was called.
it was a family, and the mother was
Yeah.
paralyzed, and she was on a dolly underneath the bed, and her kids were having kids with her, and they were all deformed and things
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
really,
and
really-
it just and they were being buried in the field next door. It was just no.
What show was this?
It was on X-Files.
That's
It
an
was
X-Files
Hold
episode?
on,
Wow.
That was creepy.
That's the best way to describe it, I think.
Yes.
Holy mackerel.
the person that could that would be able to tell you would be Randy. He would tell you exactly what episode and what show it is.
So he was an X-Files fan.
He was definitely an X-Files fan. Was it like Friday nights at 9
It was-
o'clock?
It was
know.
so disturbing to people on its original run that they would skip over it in reruns.
Wow.
And wouldn't show it.
Yeah, I can't remember. For the life of me, I'm like starting to. I would recognize the name of the family. That's the thing, that the name of the family that was on it. But that was definitely one. I'm like, I would go back and rewatch X-Files, but then there would probably be some I would go, no, probably not.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a show that I've gone back to rewatch that I didn't like it the second time around. And
SWAT for me. I know
SWAT.
that.
I'm about to throw myself under a huge bus right now because I'm circling around on my own favorite show. There are some episodes of classic Doctor Who that I just can't do anymore.
I agree.
You know, I can't go all the way back around. There's like, it's cool to see the characters, it's cool to see some of the stuff, but there are times where like I'm watching. I caught Saturday night on PBS. I caught a rerun of a Tom Baker episode, Leisure Hive, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I remembered liking this, and it wasn't that I hated it. It's just I was like, okay, I'm so used to the new stuff now that the old stuff is kind of grates on you, unless it's a particular story. And so I think that's one thing for me. So I have a hard time with some of the classic stuff.
I completely agree. The same things happened to me. I watched a lot of, I love Talons of Wen Chiang.
Yeah, that's my favorite classic
That's
stuff.
one in Inferno, which scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. But then some of them, like Megalos, was on last night.
It was terrible.
Like, no, the Horns of the Nyman, Lord Nyman.
Oh my God, that guy was just annoying. The high priest who was always it's like, oh my God, did I like this before? Do I remember, or did I just kind of tolerate it to get to the next episode? So stuff like that will happen. Cheers. I used to love Cheers. I used to make time to watch Cheers every time it was on, and the last couple of seasons of it I can't watch anymore. Like the original, the old stuff when it first.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a book, and there's plenty of books about this, but it was a specific one that discussed like the 100 greatest TV shows of all times, and Cheers is number 2 if I remember correctly. But you're right. At some shows, certain seasons, I
couldn't.
Yeah.
When you're in the original cast, the original dynamic, and everything was still fresh, and Carla was busting on Diane, and Coach was just off in his own little world, and it was before Woody showed up, and it was Norm, and you didn't know much about Norm and Cliff. They were just they were just at the end of the bar firing off their commentary. There was something magical about the way the ensemble worked, and I would laugh. And I watched an episode from like season 1. Just a few weeks ago, I caught a rerun of it, and I was crying. I was laughing so hard. But then you skip ahead, and it's Kirstie Alley, who I love. I think she's a great actress, so I'm not trying to throw shade on her. But and Woody and Woody's problems and this, that, and the other thing, and they're trying to make Woody smarter than he is. But, they just established his character to be like basically a young Coach, but now they're working hard to make him his own kind of like. And then the dynamic between Frasier and Lilith and all, it was just. I didn't find it, it had lost a step. So I'll watch early Cheers, but not like Cheers.
See, MASH had similar problems with some episodes where they went a little too serious and started caring too much about each other.
Some of those are my favorites.
Yeah, I agree, but they're almost like two different shows. What would be the cutoff point? BJ Honeycutt?
I love BJ.
Yeah, and I don't even think that I changed my mind. I'm going to say that Charles Emerson Winchester may be
that would be
the cutoff point.
The real shift for me.
Or when Radar finally decided when Gary
Radar
Berghoff left,
when he left,
when Gary Berghoff left, and Klinger suddenly they had to take him more seriously because
when Klinger stopped wearing dresses.
That's
the jump the shark.
That was
moment.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, because I liked BJ. I liked BJ better than Trapper. Not to say I didn't like Trapper. I liked Trapper a lot, but I liked the dynamic between BJ and Hawkeye a lot better because BJ was the more established, mature adult.
Yeah.
He had the family, he had home. He was always talking about Peg, his wife, and so he kind of helped keep.
That's why Wayne Rogers left, is because he didn't feel he was being utilized correctly. That he didn't feel that he was just a second Hawkeye that didn't get all the good lines.
Right. Okay. And then BJ was able to bring kind of like almost a maturity to that twosome there, and he would go along on the antics from time to time, and then when he would start busting out the funny stuff, and people are like, "Oh, we didn't expect that from him," and that was awesome. But he was also the one who would kind of reel Hawkeye in a little bit more.
Yeah, and Larry Linville left, I guess, because he just said he took Frank Burns as far as he could take him.
Yeah.
And he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Right, because then it just become a caricature of yourself.
I can honestly say I didn't watch MASH.
No? Well, there's plenty of it out there to watch. I've been catching reruns of it.
11 seasons, I believe.
Yeah. It lasted twice as long as the Korean War.
When I was in Albany, it played 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Plus the movie and the novel that the movie was based on.
I did, the play itself was the original piece. MASH was a play before it was anything else.
Wasn't it a novel first?
I don't remember about that. I don't know if the novel was written because of the play.
I think the novel was first.
Okay. Well, I did scenes from the play when I was at Brockport as a junior, senior upperclassman when I was in college there. And I got to play Hawkeye, and that was probably one of the coolest parts ever. It was so much fun to play that character. So,
Donald Sutherland was so good in the movie.
Oh yeah, he was. But I was trying to channel a blend between him and Alan Alda with my own little kind of my sarcasm from the late 80s, early 90s, my level of sarcasm that I was capable of back then.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because you knew me back then, didn't you, Ian?
Yeah. Yep.
Shut up.
Did anybody else watch? What's the guy's name? Darren McGavin, the Night Stalker.
Kolchak scared the heck out of me when I was a kid.
But it doesn't hold up, does it?
Now you see the little things on the monsters, the zippers on the back.
And is it just me, or is it weird to see him as the dad in A Christmas Story?
See, now trying to go back and watch Kolchak, all I see is the dad in the Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Because that's such an established, iconic movie now.
Well, I look at it for the time. I mean, at my age, then the vampire episode, I think, was the #1 rated TV movie of all time for a while, and those shows scared the heck out of me then. But in perspective, I was a kid, and then it went from there. It inspired a lot, like the X-Files.
And it just shows how much nerdy kids had to dig to find stuff to watch. It was that and the Incredible Hulk, the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk, and
Batman. I mean, syndication was our friend.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So what shows have held up? What shows have we gone back to and rewatched and had a good time with?
We were talking
Tales from the Crypt. I just watched the whole thing.
We were saying Leverage. Leverage is one that I've gone back and rewatched, and Sherry said she has rewatched it a couple times.
I have not seen the whole. I mean, I've seen only maybe 2 or 3 episodes of Leverage. I enjoyed what I saw, but it didn't hook me enough to I have to go find the rest of this show. It was not like one of those oh my god moment kind of shows. But I promise I will go back and watch it again.
Check your brain at the door and just sit back.
Who's the lead in that? Is that Timothy Hutton?
Yes.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him a lot.
Now, a show that there was a marathon on TV just last week, as we record this, was The Twilight Zone. 55 years old, I believe.
Wow,
and that show still holds up.
It's
like
one of the best
crazy.
shows in TV ever.
Yeah. I mean, because, when you have shows like that, and we're starting to see that paradigm kind of resurrect itself little by little. We're not going to do something you can predict. We're going to throw something at you. And our book club episode, which we'll talk about next week, it has definitely done that, has set the standard for that. But you're seeing with Twilight Zone, you don't see that being copied anywhere else. You don't see those plot lines being reused. It's just because they went way out to that edge and then circled back around to reality, looked at it and flipped it off and then wandered back off.
But it's insanely rewatchable.
It is.
How many times have I seen just all of the episodes?
And you really got some deep, The Obsolete Man for me is one of the best comments on totalitarianism ever.
Well, I think there's also Alfred Hitchcock Presents. There's some that you have to go back and there's one, Lamb to the Slaughter, that I will go back and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch, and I've because it's a short story.
Wow.
The one where kills the husband with the leg of lamb and then roasts it up. I read the story.
And then roasts it up and then feeds it to the police officers, and the police officers are saying, they're like, oh, the murder weapon's got to be right here underneath our nose.
I remember that story, yeah.
And we use it at work as just one of those ones for situational and dramatic irony and things like that. And the kids are going, okay, she didn't really hit him that hard, because they'll read the story and then they'll watch the 2 different versions of the story. That one was back with Barbara Billingsley way back when. And
before she spoke jive?
and they're like, she couldn't have killed him with that. We're like, no, remember, they're not really going to hit them that hard actually in the TV show and things like that, because this was not back in the 50s.
It's a frozen club.
Yes, but
it's a shillelagh.
But then we're like, stop and think, and then they're pulling all their 21st century ideals and values into that, going, no. And all the girls are like, I am not going to sit there and just cook for my husband and be waiting for that. I'm like, okay, you have to remember the time era.
Perspective.
I'm the perspective. Back down in the 1950s. This was the tradition. This was the values and the morals and everything, that the wife was at home and the husband was the breadwinner for the house and he provided for the wife and things like that. They're like, rah, rah, rah. So I'm just trying to just explain.
Shut up. Yeah. Just shut up.
What?
Someone backhand him.
He's leaning into
I don't know. I don't know why he's telling me to shut up for.
I don't quite know what's going on over there at the moment.
No. The girls who are trying to explain everything that don't know what's going on.
I have no idea where you are right now, buddy.
Do you want me to turn off his microphone?
No, I don't think it's come to that.
I don't know.
But no, actually, paralleling that, I had when I was actually a teacher for a while. I know that's frightening. I was teaching at one of the city schools, and
That's even more frightening.
No,
I loved it.
Depends on
Which school?
city.
Edison.
You were at Edison?
I was at Edison for my second half of my student teaching after coming from Pittsford-Mendon.
Oh, gosh.
Isn't that down the street from your house?
Edison is not that down the street from my house. It's
by
in
my
the area.
house.
I have to pass by it on my way to your house.
But no, I loved it there. But anyway, we were on a World War II unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was showing them film, movies about related to the Holocaust, and then they were all the 21st century values coming in. So, I wouldn't let them do that. So you seem to forget that 70 years ago,
That stuff didn't happen.
there was no choice. You couldn't just, as you say, walk up and hit somebody in the head with a pipe.
Right.
That's not how that worked.
No.
So in a weird, it's good that the technology has advanced to the way it has, but it's also at the same time it's kind of ruined a lot of things from back in the day because nobody wants to accept the Leave It to Beaver thing. That's not, no, I don't want to live like that. It's but everybody, that's how it was.
And we go back to that 30 some odd years ago, the doors of our houses were unlocked. At night, and our cars were unlocked at night. And I mean, I grew up in a small town, and people knew each other. And I mean, we could go down to the grocery store and leave our car unlocked and not worry about anything being taken out of it. But in this day and age,
we've gotten to the point where my mom, when she wants to go out into the backyard to do gardening, will lock the house up.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, because a couple summers ago, while she was back in the back part of her yard, gardening in the garden, somebody decided to invite themselves into the house and grab her purse and walk out.
Oh,
so that happens now. That
and
happens.
truly, in our neighborhood,
she was 50 feet away.
in our neighborhood, there was a neighbor that her purse was stolen out of her van in the garage, because the garage door was open and it was 9 o'clock at night, and that's the thing. It's
so we've gone from talking about shows that are watchable, rewatchable, or not to social commentary on society, and I guess that might actually kind of go hand in hand with
right, because you go back and rewatch some of the
stuff, and it's whether you can accept it or not, I suppose.
And we grew up in the day and age. I mean, Ian's a lot younger than we are. Hi. That we grew up in the day and the age where the stuff that's happening now is appalling, and it's just norm.
But,
go ahead.
But the thing is that it really, if you look at the statistics and everything, it's really not more dangerous today. We just are more aware of it.
Yeah, okay.
That there's not more kids being kidnapped. There's not more crimes being really committed. It's just that we hear more about it. We're more aware of these things, whereas when those of us in our 40s and 50s, when we were kids, we didn't hear about this stuff. We didn't know what was going on in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, how many mass shootings were there in the 70s and 80s when we were kids?
Yeah, I know that's something that has gone up a lot.
I mean, and that's a sociological conversation. I mean, we can definitely get into that and probably spend another hour talking about that. But I tell you what. How far are we right now, Billy?
We are at 52 minutes.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're gonna call out to the listeners, and unfortunately, we've hired one of our only listeners. So Sherry, now that you're part of the panel, we're just talking to ourselves now.
I think there's other people that are out there.
My mother listened to the last show.
Woo-hoo!
Oh, what'd she think?
Because you were on it?
Because I was on it. Okay. And I posted a link to it on
Nice.
my Facebook. So she listened to it, even though my mother did not understand what a podcast was and was very confused why she couldn't see it.
Because we have a face for radio.
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm a good-looking fella. Come
And
on.
I have a voice for silent films.
There you go.
No,
Shall we start again?
My dad is a listener to this.
Really?
Yeah, because I told him when I was on the first one.
Hi, Dad.
He started listening. Hey, Dad. He started listening, and now he listens all the time. He's like, "Did you listen to last week's podcast? It was really interesting."
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I must admit, I haven't listened to all the podcasts because I've recorded them.
I usually listen to them as soon as Billy sends me the email. I'll listen to them just to hear how they sound. Anyway, so here's what's going to happen.
We'll post it also to our Facebook page.
Yeah, as we always do. And then next week's episode, we're going to start our book club. And so listeners out there, if you're interested in joining in on the conversation and taking part of it, we are going... Should I announce what we're doing for next week? The episode in particular? Give people a heads up so that they can
so that they can play along
so they can
and know
play
what
along.
we're talking about.
Know what we're talking about and get an idea? Is that an idea? Can we
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to start our book club conversations off with a series that Billy has talked about on a couple of occasions called Black Mirror.
Yes.
It is a Netflix original.
Actually, BBC, I believe, and then
okay,
and Netflix
yeah,
picked
and
it up.
then
Netflix picked it up.
Yeah.
Very cool, and it does. It's very British,
Very.
and so it's very cool. And so Black Mirror, tell us a little bit more about it, Billy. You're the big fan.
Twilight Zone style show. Since I
Okay.
brought up Twilight Zone before, and each episode is self-contained. You don't
Okay.
need to know characters from previous episodes. Anything
Okay.
that's going. Every show is a self-contained episode. Completely new cast of folks.
Okay.
Twists abound.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very dark. The Black Mirror refers to your computer screen, your
Okay.
cell phone, your anything you stare at. Now it's technology. All the episodes are sort of wrapped around technology and how it's good or bad for us.
Nice. And we are going to start our discussion with the second episode of the second season called White Bear. It's episode 2 of season 2.
Because as per BBC, shows are only like 3 episodes a season.
Yeah, and some like Sherlock and like Doctor Who's 13 and Black Mirror, I guess, is like 3. Although their most recent series had like 6 or 7 episodes
6,
in it.
I
So
believe, yeah.
I think
it
they're
seems
on
to be
series 3 and they have 13 episodes.
it's picking up speed. So and I can see why. And it's
Because
definitely very interesting storytelling.
Yeah. And it's some of my favorite TV, but we'll get into that next week. So.
Absolutely. So join if you get a chance, listeners, go ahead and review that particular episode, White Bear. And if you're so intrigued as I am, I watched it this morning and I was just blown away by it. So I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the series very soon. And like I said, it's only a couple of episodes per season, so it should be easy to catch up with. And then next week, listen to the podcast. We're going to be talking about it's going to be the first episode of the Mighty Monkey Book Club, and we'll see what kind of discussion comes of it. So there you have it.
And let me hit the music. So
You hit
Good.
the
You
music?
can take us out. I brought us in. You can take us out.
So I say that to Ian all the time. I brought you into this world. I can take you right back out.
Oh.
So for Billy, for Tanya, for Sherry, for Zach, for Rob, for Ian, and myself, I am your host, Chris. This has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you in 2018, June 9th and 10th at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Like us, follow us on Facebook, and we will see you out there in the ether. Have a great day.